Man, YouTube, what is good today? I'm super excited because we are going to be talking to the 7th graders here at Westwood Elementary. And I'm just going to share some of my story and hopefully inspire them, motivate them in some way, shape, or form, and teach them how to be a barber, man. This is important for me because 7th, 8th grade was a really big time in my life where I made a lot of really big decisions. So I'm just going to share that with them, see what happens. So let's get it. There's not enough, maybe, but like I have an outline and stuff. Good morning. We're gonna give them a second, let them get in here. Or honestly, we probably could just get straight into it since I have a mic, it's not too loud. But yeah, man, I'm super excited and grateful to be here. I'm thankful to Mr. Church for having me because this is super important to me, man. 7th to 8th grade was a really life-changing time in my life, you know? Because I made a lot of really big decisions. And one of those big decisions I made on the personal side was I gave my life to God, right? And when that happened, there was a lot of mindset changes, right? So when I say the word mindset, what do you guys think that means? Your brain. The way you think, that's a good one. So mindset is the way that you think about something, right? And when I made that decision, the way that I thought about my life changed, right? And I felt like I didn't think like any of the other kids my age. And I started to really think about my future, right? And when I started to think about my future, I also had to think about my present, my right now, right? So I thought to myself, what do I have to do as a 7th grader to get me to where I want to be in the future? I got some good points, so I want to make sure that I don't miss them, all right? For me, I was in 8th grade, you guys in 7th grade, but I thought to myself, what do I have to do to get to the life that I do want to have? You have to think about your current situation and the current life you have right now. That can be difficult, right? Because a lot of us aren't born into the best circumstances and situations, right? Some of us are born into a situation where, you know, we're raised in a single-parent household where maybe our father or our mother isn't in our life, right? Maybe grandpa or grandma or our grandparents take care of us. Maybe our auntie or our titi take care of us. And some of us, maybe we grew up in a foster home, right? We all go through different challenges, difficulties, and circumstances. But what I came here to tell you today is that the life that you have right now doesn't have to dictate how the rest of your life is going to be, right? Because my situation was I grew up in a household where my father wasn't in my life. You know, he was locked up basically the majority of it, right? And when I came to the point where I started to really think about my future, I thought to myself, man, this has to end here with me, right? Because my father's dad wasn't in his life, my dad wasn't in my life. And I was like, at some point, this has to stop, right? So I made the decision that at a very young age, like around your guys' age, that enough is enough. This is going to end here with me. You know what I mean? And I'm saying here before you today that when you have a goal and when you have something you want to achieve, that it is possible, right? Because I stand here today, I brought my beautiful wife and I brought my 10-month-old daughter with me, right? And I'm in my life. And I'm going to tell you guys what, there's nothing that can ever happen that will make me not be in my daughter's life, right? But I made that decision young. So what I need you guys to do today is change your mindset, right? Get some perspective on what you want your life to look like in the future. And then once you figure out what you want to do in the future, figure out what it's going to take to get there, and then come at it with constant action, right? So when I say constant action, that means doing something. That means the grind, the hard work of doing something over and over and over and over, right? Because when you do something over and over and over, at some point it's going to give. At some point it's going to break, and you can get that breakthrough. And on the other side of that is the thing that you want. And what I don't want you guys to do is think that, you know, just because you were born into circumstances that might not be the best, or you're born into a situation where you feel like you're at a disadvantage, that's all you're good for. You know, you guys have a lot. I believe that you guys have gifts, talents, and abilities that can really change your life, can change your family's life, and can change a whole generation people's life. I like to say that your success, like a lot of people are attached to that. So when you win, not only do you win and your family wins, but your whole family lineage can change when you start to really lock in and make good decisions, right? So I realized I got into this and I didn't really introduce myself, right? Because what I want you guys to understand is I didn't come here to flex. I didn't come here to tell you, you know, what I do and I've accomplished this and I've done this and I've done that. I've really come here because I care about you guys, right? I care about your success. I believe that you guys can really make something out of yourself. And what I also don't want you to do is take advantage of the people who do care about you, right? And treat them like trash, because you'll notice as you get older, there's a select group of people who truly do care about you. And I want you to value that and you know, really embrace that, because I care about you guys. And what I'm going to ask you as I get into this and share the next few moments with you is to really value the time that I have here today as I share my story and what I do and how I became a barber and the things I've been able to accomplish as a barber, and apply it to your life, right? Even if you take one thing from what I say today, I feel like we won. My name is Andre Morales. You can call me Dre. Dre Clipperhands on social media. And I was born in Lorraine, so not too far, like 10 minutes from here. So yeah, I'm a barber, YouTuber, content creator. I make videos for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, right? But a lot happened before I got to that place, you know? I was raised by my mother and my family, I like to say. So there's a quote that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And for me, that was important. That was true in my life, because my family played a huge role in raising me, which I'm grateful for. Because like I mentioned, my father wasn't in my life. He's been like the majority of it. But outside of that, I did have a pretty good life, you know. My family loved me. My mom always took me to do stuff. And I feel like a problem that we have, especially nowadays, is we don't tend to appreciate the way we grew up, right? We all grew up different. Yes, there's some people who grew up into situations that are unfortunate, like I mentioned before, but there's also people in here that grew up in a good household, that grew up with both parents in the house, right? And what I need you to do is embrace that. Don't ever let anyone make you feel like you being raised in a good situation is a bad thing, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to provide for our future family. For me, I like to explain how I found to do what I do in 3 phases. So at first, when I was little, I was really into wrestling. And I thought I was going to be a wrestler, right? Nobody could tell me otherwise. I was going to be the next Rey Mysterio, the next Jeff Hardy. And then I realized that I don't like to jump off things that are high, you know? And I was like, maybe, you know what, this is not for me, you know? And then I really got into basketball. And man, let me tell you, when I got into basketball, I believed with everything inside of me that I was going to go to the league, man. I was going to be in the NBA. That was going to be my way to make it out. And then every time I would mention it to my mom, she would be like, make sure you have a plan B. And then in my mind, I'm like, man, my mom is hating on me, man. Why is she hating on me? I'm trying to make a way to get out of here. But surely enough, I kept playing basketball, and I started playing freshman year. I made the team. And that whole season, I scored 8 points. And I was like, dang, my mom might be right. So then I tried out sophomore year. I get cut, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going to gradually stop hooping. And what's funny is the next phase of that was barbering. And I actually started cutting my hair at the end of 7th grade. And so your guys' age, going into 8th grade year. And I would cut it because I started to really care about how I look, right? I wanted to have a haircut every week. And at the time, my mom could only afford to get me a haircut, you know, every 3 to 4 weeks. And I was like, man, I got Puerto Rican hair, and I really want to get a haircut like all the time. And we went through a phase where my mom cut my hair, and I knew we had clippers at the house. So I was like, man, I'm about to grab a YouTube video. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to stand in front of the mirror, and I'm going to try to get myself right. Horrible experience. I was bald, basically. Super short, bald fade, looked really bad. But I was so proud of myself, right? So proud that I could do this thing that I didn't know how to do before. And I kept at it, man. And surely enough, freshman year, it turned into my cousins. Then sophomore year, my friends. Then junior year, even more people. And by senior year, I was like, man, this is really what I want to do. So my mom signed me up for barber school, and we made it happen. And I'm here today, 5 years later, after getting my license, to say that it's been a fun journey, a lot of ups and downs. I've been able to accomplish things that I never would have imagined, right? Because when I started cutting hair, the only reason I wanted to be a barber was because it was fun, right? Like, I liked what I do. I could see you could make money. And that's what I wanted to do. But I've been able to step in rooms that I never would have thought. Like, I've been able to cut some really big names, from Myles Garrett to Roddy Ricch to Rajon Rondo, an influencer named Gary Vee. And I never would have thought, you know, that was possible through barbering. All I knew was I could cut hair and make money, right? But I believe that what you do as a career is not, I think it's important what you do as a career, but I think the way you go about it is even more important, right? Because I heard a quote that said, how you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. So whether you choose to go to school, whether you choose to be a barber, whether you choose to work in retail, whether you want to be a server, I think the way that you treat your job, right, and the perspective that you have that, yo, I'm just a janitor, but I'm going to do this to the fullest of my ability, I think that's more important than what you do, right? So whatever you guys choose to do with your career as you get older, I think it's important that you really go full-fledged at it and treat it as if it is your career, even if it's not yet. You know what I mean? And a lot of people ask me, man, Dre, when you told your mom, you know, you wanted to be a barber, like, how was that? You know, because especially back then, when you would tell somebody you wanted to be a barber, it was kind of looked down upon. Like, man, you just want to cut hair, right? Because a lot of people, perspective of barbering was, oh, that's just the dude on the corner who cuts hair for $10, $15, and, you know, that's it. But barbering has changed so much, especially when I first started to learn how to cut hair. I hopped on Instagram, and I saw what the potential of what it really could be, right? I saw barbers charging, it sounds crazy here, but in other states it's for real, barbers charging $80 to $100 for a haircut and having really successful careers being barbers, and I saw what was possible. And I was like, man, if they can do that, like, I want to do that same exact thing, you feel me? So when I told my mom I wanted to be a barber, she had that same perspective, the perspective that, oh, barbering is not really a career, it's just like something to make money, right? But I heard a quote also that says your level of exposure will dictate your level of success, right? My mom didn't know because she wasn't exposed to the potential of what that career could really be, but I was, and I saw what was possible. But thankfully, I had a mom who was supportive, and she was like, yo, you want to do this thing? Like, you know, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to do it. And I've been able to do every single thing that I saw on Instagram, you know? And the beauty of that was I was able to cut these athletes and cut these rappers and these people that have influence that we look at like, whoa. And barbering gave me the flexibility to do that. And now I'm at a place where I want to continue to grow my YouTube channel, right? I want to continue to grow my influence on TikTok and Instagram. And I can do that because barbering gave me that freedom, right? And all you guys probably want to do different things, you know what I'm saying? But if anyone is interested in becoming a barber, how would you do that, right? How do you, like, if you're in 7th grade, I want to become a barber, what would you suggest I do? What I suggest you guys do is that you start, right? You start potentially cutting your own hair if your parents let you, or start cutting your friend's hair and see how it goes from there, you know? And then if you really want to do it, you would just sign up for barber school. You would obviously have to graduate first, and you sign up for barber school. You complete your hours. Barber school is an 1,800-hour program, so it takes about a year to finish. And then once you finish, that's it. You have your license, and the sky is the limit, right? So like I said before, as you guys try to figure out, as you get older, get into high school, and then graduation, of what you want to do, really have the perspective that no matter what I end up doing, I'm going to do it with everything inside of me, and I'm going to do it with a spirit of excellence. Yeah, that's my story of how I became a barber. So what I want to do now is just kind of take some time to, if you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them.
When did you ever feel like you would not make it, or that your journey would be impossible?
Like, when I started, it wasn't like all up from there, right? There was a lot of hard work that was put into my career. Long hours, you know, of cutting. And there was moments where I was like, man, like, I don't know if this is really what I should be doing. You know, but I stuck with it. And I really locked in. And despite what other people said, like, I just stayed with it, right? I say it's not necessarily how good you are at something. I think it's the consistency of it, right? So if you really want something, you do it over and over and over and over. I think it's really just a matter of time before it actually works. But what I see a lot of people do is they start something, right? You want to be a barber, you want to be a hairstylist, and you start and you do it for a month. You do it for 3 months, you do it for a year, and you don't see any progress. What happens is most people get discouraged and they quit, right? But I think if you continue to push past that, right, and say, man, I really want this to work, that's what's going to separate you from everyone else, you know what I mean? So there was definitely times where I thought to myself, man, this might not be the way, but I stuck with it despite my doubts. Thank God it worked out. Go ahead.
How do you stay motivated when things get hard?
I think vision, right? Like, your why is the most important part. I know it sounds cliche because everyone say it, man, like, you have to know your why, you have to know the reason behind what you do. But I think even to this day, because there's still days I wake up and I go to the shop, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to be here, right? But I know the end goal, the bigger picture, is so much more important than what I feel right now, right? A lot of times, sometimes we have to do the things we don't want to do in order to get to the place that we want to be, right? In order to live the life that we want to have. So sometimes you do have to sacrifice. Sometimes, you might not feel like going in, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to get it done. You know why? Because the end goal and the bigger picture is way more important than what I feel today, right? And now I have my daughter. Like I said, you guys are far from that place. Please don't have any kids anytime soon. But for me, that's motivation enough. Like, I look at her and I'm like, man, I really want to give you the best life that I possibly can. And it goes bigger than money. Yeah, I want to make the most money I possibly can. But at the end of the day, I want to be a present father, I want to be a present husband. I want to be a good man. So you just want to be the best you possibly can. I think it's impossible to not mess up a haircut. When you first start, you will definitely mess up a haircut. I think the worst experience that I had was actually one. So I have two. So one happened while I was in the basement before I got in barber school. I was cutting this one guy's hair, and he asked for, I think it was a low fade, right? And I was in the middle of the haircut. I'm talking about, I'm not even done with one side, and we're two hours in, literally 2 hours in. And I'm like, bro, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this haircut. There's no way. So I think he noticed it as well. Bro, I turned around to go grab like the guard I was going to use next. I come back, he's taking the cape off, and I just see him stomping up my stairs, and he left. So that was one experience. Then another one, I was actually in barber school, and this was more so because I was being arrogant. So in barber school, I didn't get paid for the haircuts, the school did. So I would just try to get haircuts as fast as I can. So I'm cutting this guy's hair, and I'm going to shape up his afro, kind of like he has with the mask, right? But I didn't take into consideration that in the front is a lot lower than the top of the head. So I was going to shape it up, and I patched him right in the middle, like a bald spot. So before he noticed, what I did is I grabbed this stuff called hair fibers. It's like hair dust. They use it to make the lineup darker. And I hurried up and sprayed it in there before he could notice. And I showed him the mirror, and, he didn't say anything, but I'm sure he went home, took a shower, and was like, bruh. But he never came back. So all that to say that when you first start cutting hair, it's going to happen. You will mess people up, but it's part of the learning process, man.
How did you get to your point if people had so much doubt?
How did I get here if people outside of myself had doubt? It sucks when the people closest to you really question whether or not, it's gonna work. But at the end of the day, when you figure out what you want in life, you figure out like, man, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to chase right now. At the end of the day, what other people have to say, like, it really doesn't matter. I know that sounds cliche as well, but you have to put up a wall. Like, man, I want to do this thing, but my mom doesn't see it, right? Or my friends don't see it, and they're making fun of me for doing it. You have to block them out, right? You have to continue to just go after it and say, at the end of the day, their opinion doesn't matter because you live your own life, So just continue to block them out, whatever it is, man. Doubt is a hard thing because it'll make you quit, right? It'll make you quit, but you have to push past those doubts.
Where is your barbershop?
So I cut in Westlake. So originally I started in Lorraine because I'm from Lorraine. I used to cut right on the south side. But then I moved to Amherst because the owner of the Lorraine one opened one up in Amherst. I was there for 2 years, and then now I'm in Westlake. So about 20 minutes away. Not too far. It sounds crazy, but it's not too far.
How much do you charge per haircut?
So right now for a haircut, I charge $40. And then if you have a beard, it would be $50. But obviously none of you guys have beards. Yeah, unless you got, you're growing up quick. But he low-key has a beard, just a little bit. But
This one is from one student. It's a pretty good one. Like if one of these young adults wants to start entrepreneuring in high school, how do you start going about it, man?
If you want to be an entrepreneur, I believe you really have to be willing to put yourself out there. Like for me, I'm not gonna lie, I was driving here and I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, I love speaking, like public speaking in general. Like it's something I really like to do. But it doesn't come naturally. This is a really nerve-wracking thing for me. And for a lot of people, right? This is a very scary thing to do, is talk in front of people. But I love doing it, and I have to be willing to put myself out there, especially if I want to do more stuff like this. So whether it be barbering, whether it be you wanting to start your own business, you really have to be willing to put yourself out there, and that goes into other people doubting you and making fun of you. If you're about to cut hair and you're passing out business cards, there's going to be kids your age that are like, I'm never going to let this dude cut my hair. He's trash. He's butt. But you got to be willing to push past that and really put yourself out there and just pass out as many cards as you can to people, and just be willing to really put yourself out there. Because at the end of the day, that's what entrepreneurship really is all about. nowadays entrepreneurship is more popular than it used to be. Like when our parents grew up, if someone said they wanted to do anything entrepreneur-like, it was like, man, you're not gonna go to school, you know, you're not gonna go to college. But nowadays, there's a lot of different ways, especially with social media, to make that happen. And social media is another way to really elevate anything you want to do in the entrepreneurial world, whether it be barbering, whether it be open up a business, is continually post and continually promoting whatever that thing you want to do is.
We've got like a couple, like a minute wrap here. How can they, or would you like them to follow you? I put your presentation up. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can follow, like I said, on social media, my name is @DreClipperhands. You guys can do that now. You can do it later. I have a TikTok, I have an Instagram, and I have a YouTube. I post a lot of content, haircut content, motivational, inspirational content. So you guys can follow me there, you know, to keep up. If you guys have any questions, you can hit me up on there as well. But before I get out of here, because he said you guys got a couple minutes, to leave you guys with a word of encouragement, man, is like I said before, I believe every single person in this room has talents, gifts, and abilities that can really take your life to a whole nother level. And I feel like if you guys really tap into that, man, like the places you can go is crazy. And if no one's gonna tell you this, I'm gonna tell you today, you guys matter, you guys are valuable, and you guys are needed on this world. So continue to do, you know, whatever you need to do to elevate your life, man. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy your guys' day. Thank you. Thank you. It's DreClipperhands. Yeah, you got your phone? Go ahead, pull it up. What was your name? Chris. Nice to meet you, man. So just go to the search right here, and I'll follow you right back. So press that, type in DreClipperhands. Okay, yeah, I got you, man. I appreciate you, bro. Yes, sir. Enjoy your day, man.
Give a follow.
Me.
Good. Thank you. No, I'm serious. Like, you were able to do this during COVID because we were on Google Meet and everybody was sitting around. They were.
Oh, you were doing it on Zoom?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Like we would have Reggie Hodges, who used to play for the Browns. Jerry Becker staff came and talked.
That's huge.
But it's been hard to do now, and to have a local person like yourself is awesome. You really put this in there. I was trying, man. This is so new for me because I usually it's a haircutting classes, so I have a haircut to go back to if it gets awkward, you know. But this is definitely a muscle I want to keep, you know, getting better at because this is fun. This is fun, and I feel like it means something. Oh gosh. You know, talking to younger kids like that. Like that last kid that came up, barely talks to anybody ever. So you created a spark. That's huge. That's huge. Amazing. So that's why I like to do this stuff, man. Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. I think you should keep doing stuff like this because, you know, it's cool to hear from a teacher, but to have people who do it too, like, it puts things into perspective, you know? Tangible, and you're a young, good-looking dude. Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. YouTube, we just finished up speaking to the 7th graders here at Westwood Elementary. I had a great time. This is definitely new for me because usually I have a haircut to go to in the awkward moments, but it's definitely something I want to keep doing. I felt like we impacted students, even if it was just one student, that's all I needed. But if you stick through this video, I appreciate you, fam, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Lolo had a great question for you. It was unbelievable, but she was afraid to say something. Oh, what was it? You gotta ask now. Ask your question. What was it? Do you know this?
It says, what was the toughest situation you had to go through before getting to where you are?
Man, the toughest thing? Yeah. Man, there was a few. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, she was tough. When I found out she was on the way, that was tough. And then just getting over the hurdle of my dad not being in my life, like that really bothered me as I got older, you know? Cause it always felt like a gap, and I didn't notice it when I was your age. It really started to bother me as I got older into like graduation, and then I graduated barber school. It was in the milestones where I really realized the gap. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then, yeah, the baby was a curveball. But just life, you know, life. It does what it does. And we're gonna go through those little struggles, but it's the perseverance that, you know, will get us to those places, you know? So, definitely.
Not really.
What was your name? Lauren, I'm Andre, man. Nice to meet you. Do you play volleyball? Yeah? Are you good?
Well, we placed second in the tournament.
Yeah. That's the team though. How about you? You got an answer?
good.
Yeah, good, good. I like the answer.